This is Big B, Shade, and Spaz from TacoYaki Anime.
Yo!
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
And we are back with our final thoughts on the summer season of 2019. Today is another special guest day, Spastic one. He's a big manga fan, so we're going to have a little bit of a different opinion on the show today.
I don't know. This season kind of was a bit of a letdown. Was it for you, Big D?
I let myself down. There's a bunch of shows that I wanted to get to, and I just didn't get to it. I wanted to get to the Fire one. I wanted to get to Accelerator. I wanted to get to
Dr. Stone?
Dr. Stone, and I just missed all three of those.
See, I didn't really care much for Dr. Stone, but like the Fire one I dropped, I just couldn't. And I don't know. The rest of them seemed, other than Demon Slayer, which was amazing, the rest of them kind of seemed like a bit of a wash for the most part.
Okay, so even Accelerator, it was kind of like, eh.
Yeah, even Accelerator is kind of like an eh.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, so I guess we can go ahead and get started on the first show. So Spaz, this season, you've read the manga for a few, but did you watch the series as well?
Few of them, yeah.
Okay, so as far as the ones that you watched, were they, I guess, with your opinion of manga to the anime, do you think that they've kind of did a good job? Because I know some shows a long time ago they were bad adaptations, I guess.
For most part, most of them did a really good job. Pacing was a little off on some of them, but other than that, they kept true to the source as much as possible.
Okay. Do you think that's starting to be true nowadays more than it was in the past, or?
Well, the biggest issue is filler content that happens a lot of times in anime.
Uh-huh.
I haven't been seeing as much filler as, say, there was in Bleach.
Or Naruto. Okay. But yeah, I'm glad you brought up filler, because there's one show that I finished that actually had something that I would call filler. But yeah. So first show we're going to be talking about is Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba.
Oh boy. I mean, there's a reason why this show was trending on Twitter like 3 different times worldwide. It's an amazing show. As you said before, I never thought I would be a fan of UFO Table because I didn't really care much for their Fate Stay Night. But man, did they just absolutely blow it out of the park with this, I think. Action, visuals are on point. The music, the OST was on point. Just the character development. I mean, I know that goes more towards the manga source, but that was also, I mean, they didn't really mess with that, it seemed. I mean, we'll ask about that for Spaz about that, but I mean, again, it just seemed like everything just hit the way it should, which was just awesome.
Okay. I know for me, this time period is not really a time period that I'm a big fan of. So I was a little worried going in. But yeah, like you said, UFO Table hit it completely out of the park. I'm 100% hooked. This show actually overshadowed some of like a franchise that I'm a fan of, and I kind of wish I watched them in different order. I wish I would have watched the other one first and then this one, because getting off of the high that this show left me with and then going to that one, I'm kind of like, so we're just gonna be in the house for today. I'm not gonna do something cool. Okay, y'all gonna develop feelings. Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's just like yeah. I mean I watched a reactor on it, especially on that last episode with the whole scene in the with the demons and Muzan and everything,
Mm-hmm.
and how they did that, and just the whole, like, what is that artist that does like those
Oh,
weird,
MC Escher.
yeah, like the whole MC Escher
Escher stairs.
look and everything that they had in there, and then especially when that demon went and tried to run away before he got killed, which got killed anyways. But like that whole scene, I mean, yeah, the blood was CG and you could kind of tell about that. But beyond that, everything else just looked fantastic. Just absolutely. And even one of them was just like, this is like movie quality almost. This is what we're getting at here.
Yeah.
You know, they UFO table, and as far as that goes, is just like one or 2 degrees away from like where they could almost be competing, not quite there, but they almost be competing with like what Square Enix does for the Final Fantasy stuff. Like we're getting there with that. So if more CG animes want to start doing this, I'd be on board with more of them than I am now. Because most of the time it just looks horrible.
Like a CG just kind of plastered over the drawn image.
Yeah, it's just, some of them just like, they're so startlingly like smack you up the side of the face with CG. You're like, okay, come on. It just,
Yeah, good CG is supposed to be hidden. You're not supposed to be able to tell that it's CG.
Mm-hmm.
And it's starting to blend more and more into the background to where a show will have CG in it, and then you watch it and they're like, CG crew, and you're like, there was CG in this? Oh, okay. So, so yeah, what are your opinions of the show, Spaz?
That was actually really enjoyable. I like the main character, Tanjiro, because he's just kind of, he takes things in stride, but he's also kind of silly at the same time.
Yeah.
Nezuko is cute as always.
Oh, Nezuko's adorable.
As you mentioned, the period that it's in is kind of hard to even tell because there's electricity, there's trains.
Yeah.
But there's still people going around with katanas. It's kind of weird.
They made a reference in the last episode about how they couldn't just walk around where they were with their katanas out. So it seems like it might be somewhat into the, like, I don't know, maybe
so I don't know,
late 1800s or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, so usually when it has this type of like style with samurai swords and the tatami mats and all that kind of stuff, I just generalize it with the Edo period. There are definitely more accurate descriptions to explain it, but for me, I usually, all of the anime that takes place in that time with those few items, I call that the Edo period. And for me, like this one's like the end of the Edo period, entering like the modern age.
Yeah. Because there's obviously electricity with the town where he first met Muzan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was Tokyo.
Yeah, that was kind of a whole like, wait, what's going on here?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, even he was floored when that first happened.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
Oh, I even forgot that there was like slightly different, like there's more modern, like basically it's like right now you have city folk and country folk, and those two kind of collided in the show, whereas like the city folk have the like more modern technology, and then like the country folk are like Edo period samurais, and like I completely forgot that both of those coexisted until like the last episode where he had mentioned like he started talking about the train. He's like, "What is this? What is that?" And it's like, the blind guy knew what a train was, but the other two didn't. And I just assumed that Tanjiro knew what the train was until he made like a comment, and I was like, "Oh wait, he doesn't even know what this is either."
Yeah, because he said it was like the guardian of the land or something like that. Yeah.
So that was actually one of the issues I had in the manga. He actually knew what it was. but he was trying to say things to get Inosuke on the train instead of headbutting.
Yeah, that's what I thought the first half of what he was saying, but I think in that scene in the anime, they kind of led it in a way where he didn't know what it was.
They took some liberties.
Yeah, so, okay.
Gotcha. Character-wise, like, I love each and every one of these characters. Every one of them, even Zenitsu, who I originally was annoyed the hell with all of his just spastic, oh my god, the world's going to end. Oh my god, everything's horrible. Oh my god, and I just want to smack him upside the head and go, stop it.
Don't forget his constant proposals.
Oh yeah, and his constant proposals too. And I'm like, come on, dude. But I love each one of the other characters, and even the funny moments they mixed in between the seriousness, and I could tell probably that was more towards the manga source than anything else, because it seemed like straight out of a manga where you'd have like the artwork does a subtle change, like say for instance even the big episode on 19 where Inosuke just got done battling father and Giyu had to step in, and then he makes that proclamation saying, I'm going to defeat Giyu and I'll be the strongest, and then Giyu just looks at him and goes, go back to training, and just his all of a sudden just pale scraggly look of just like, what? And he just all of a sudden has that expression of just like, what did you tell me? And I'm like, all right, it's hilarious, and it works so well. So.
Oh, sorry.
All right, go ahead.
So the blank face that always appears, just the two dots with the flat mouth that appears. Yeah. That is actually straight up from the manga.
Nice.
Yeah, because I like when Nezuko would that whole scene with the Hirasha when they were meeting all the other demon slayers and whatnot. Yeah. And then after she turns away from the dude trying to proffer the blood, and then she's in her box just staring at him. You see the little puff clouds of frustration, and then the one dude comes up because he's gonna take her away along with Tanjiro, and she has that blank look with the little dots on the face, and he's just looking at her like, do I come closer? It's little things like that. Like, I don't mind the comedy as far as that goes when you have something serious like this. And in fact, the way they interweaved it in between, I think was probably one of my more favorite types above all. If you're gonna have comedy, do it like this. Make it to where it's not just don't have the jokes beat you over the face and just like laugh. No, make it more natural. Every single one of them just felt right and natural.
So speaking of the characters, who is everybody's favorite?
Oh, good lord.
So are you talking about from my source, what we've seen so far, or do you want me to go into my full wealth of knowledge?
I would say for now, let's do what we've seen so far, because we can do another one they're gonna add more. They're gonna have more, so we can do a farther along one when we're at the end of that core or saga.
Now, question on as far as that goes, the way they ended this, they said something about a movie being done.
Yeah, it's a film greenlit or something like that.
Yeah, they said something about
adaptation greenlit. So
film adaptation, and then they also said it almost seemed like they were saying there was another season coming out, but it didn't seem like it was. Like, it seemed weird the way they said it, and I was like, yeah. Are you saying there's another season, or what are you saying? I mean, obviously there should be another season, but
yeah, so I really hope there is.
Yeah, I'm curious what the terminology was for that. So I'm like, is anime the film adaptation? Because it was like next saga film adaptation greenlit, and I'm like, yes, there's gonna be more. but I'm like, film.
Yeah, see, that confused me too.
So if it's gonna be a movie, I'm like, I'm gonna have to do some Funimation films or what was that? It was Fandango special event or something like that, and we'll most likely see it.
They say newsflash. They show Flame Dude saying just staying in the midst of fire, saying he won't let anyone die, which seems to me he's talking about the train.
Oh yeah, because that demon was on top of it right at the end.
And they say Demon Slayer Infinity Train arc film adaptation greenlit.
Okay.
So, do you remember Blue Exorcist?
Yeah.
So they did like 26 episodes, and then they came back with like the Kyoto arc, and the Kyoto arc was like in between episodes like 12 and 13 or something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing this film will be kind of like that, where it's like it's just a film in between seasons.
Okay, so this whole thing with the train is just gonna be summarized basically in one film.
Yeah, because that would explain why like they teased such a problem like right at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I hate cliffhangers like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's cool. I'm up for that.
Now, did it seem like that was gonna be like a live adaptation, or was it gonna be just an animated adaptation?
I hope it's anime.
I think I don't think they would announce the live action one inside of the animated one. I think if they were doing a live action one, it'd just be its own. Just a trailer would come out. They're like,
I don't know. I mean, they just want to announce. Basically, I feel like they just want to announce whatever they're going to be doing, so it keeps people interested in wanting more.
Yeah, it's kind of like with My Hero Academia, where they talked about the movie coming out during the show.
Yeah, I guess I could see that.
Yeah. So as far as how long is it gonna take for the second season to come out then? If they like for the movie.
If they're doing this stuff with the movie, then what's the wait time on the next season? I'm hoping sometime next year.
You know, I've kind of had enough awesomeness. I kind of want to shift lanes and let's go to something else because we need to see some of the other we got My Hero Academia coming up. Let's switch stories a little bit and have a different flavor of awesomeness, and then let them come back swinging next year sometime.
I mean, hopefully it's next year.
Yeah. But as far as favorite characters,
why don't you start us off on that there, Big D?
Dang it.
You asked the question and you don't even know.
I know, I was doing that to kind of okay. So everybody, there's like a toss up for everybody. It's like Tanjiro fits too much in that protagonist, like the main character protagonist spot. But he is a very good main protagonist. Nezuko, she is probably my favorite character, but I don't know why I don't want to choose her yet because everybody else is still good. You got Zenitsu, who is half too cool and half too annoying. And then you got the boarhead? What is his name?
Inosuke.
You have Inosuke, who is growing a lot as a character.
Mm-hmm.
And
there's definitely backstory there for sure.
Yeah. So
they teased it in one of the episodes.
And like when he was fighting Tanjiro, I was like, whoa. So,
oh yeah, that when they're outside the demon or the house with the demon that could manipulate the whole house. Yeah.
The demon with the bongo player.
Mm-hmm.
The bongos.
Yeah. And then then he got real depressed. So, and he's like, I don't know. It's like you can't steer him. Like he's just, come on, get back on the road. And he's like, oh, I'm gonna kill you. And I'm like, no, come back here. So, and then he like dies on you, and you're like,
Shinobu did a really good job on steering him. You know what I mean?
yeah. And I'm like, wake up. So, made. I don't. I'm just gonna say Nezuko.
I mean,
yeah.
I was about to say, are we just talking about those 4 characters, or are we talking about
because they're so strong?
Because I mean,
I'm gonna say Nezuko because I don't have any issues with her.
mm-hmm. Nezuko is an adorable character, and I think above all else, I don't think there's anyone who can disagree with Nezuko in regards to it, because myself, anyone I watched who watched those episodes, like when Nezuko would get hurt, when Nezuko would, especially with the situation with the other demon slayers, the head demon slayers, when that one was like skewering the box with her inside it, basically. So many people were upset about that and just pissed off and just like, oh my God, I just want to kill him. I want to smack the shit out of him. Everyone was just saying all sorts of things. And to me, when you have a character who invokes that sort of emotion upon things like that happening, you can't help but say that they're probably your most favoriteest character. Just because it's rare for you to find something like that. Deep down, they're not real. They're just drawings and characters in a story, essentially. But when you feel that sort of way and you can't help yourself, that's just like the same thing when I first saw in Dungeon, when I first saw Bell face that Minotaur. Man, I was standing up cheering and everything when he finally killed that thing. When you have that sort of emotion hit you like that, and the fact that I saw it in multiple different people and knew people were feeling that way, you can't help but say she's your favorite character.
Yeah.
So, I mean, granted, like you said, Zenitsu, I'm okay with him. He's good with me. I can't say he's my favorite, though, because he's still annoying. He still has an annoying tendency. You're just like, dude, just stop it. But I get where because you saw some of his backstory, I get where he's coming from. He has no confidence in himself. None whatsoever. Everyone's like beat it out of him, basically. The world essentially has beat it out of him. So I get where he's coming from. Tanjiro, you don't want to say just because he's the main character and he's already awesome. You could probably say so many different things about how awesome he is. And I've seen it said multiple times just because, like, people have said in situations, even from the very beginning, even from the start, when his family gets killed and the next scene that you see is him with Nezuko on his back trying to get back to town so he can get to a doctor. How many main characters, do you know, especially in a setting like this, in a story like this, that would see something like that and immediately take action to go and get their sister or some family member to a doctor? You know as well as I do that each one of them would have been like sitting there for like you'd see it get dark and they'd still be there crying over their dead family members. Meanwhile, Nezuko, who's still alive, would have been turned essentially. You know what I mean? It's just like, but see, there's so many times main characters freeze up. So many times they show characters like that who can't make decisions. Tanjiro can make decisions. He doesn't hesitate. When the dude was skewering his sister in the box, he didn't hesitate. He immediately got up and said, I'm going to make you pay for that. And what did he do? He made him pay for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, there was no hesitation in that. That was just like, no, we're gonna freaking smack the crap out of you for doing that shit. You know?
Yeah.
And even coming back and going after he'd been dismissed, going, I want to hit him another 3 times for him screwing it. I'm like,
please allow me. I know it's against the rules, but please allow me.
I'm like, God damn, dude.
And that part was a straight up anime thing. That part didn't happen in the manga.
Okay.
Though, let me headbutt him 3 more times.
I mean, it was still so right to have it in there, though.
Oh, it was hilarious.
But see, that just pulls more towards Tanjiro's character, because, I mean, it just puts more of that forward. So, in regards to that, Nezuko is, she never wanted to be a demon. This was not her choice. This is not what she wanted. Even from the very first episode when she was attacking Tanjiro, she was crying. She didn't want this. She didn't want to be in this situation. She didn't want to be attacking her brother. But she was. And since then, she has, even though for, 2.5 years she was asleep?
Yeah.
Since then, she has...
Technicality.
Yeah.
Like, it's been 2 years.
Yeah, like, well, yeah, she was asleep those 2 years. But yeah, even though every time after that, when she's been put in a situation, she is overcome. She is constantly overcome. And even that moment in episode 19 when she used the blood demon art, I know it's like everyone was like, "Oh my God, she spoke!" Because you hadn't heard her speak since episode 1.
Yeah.
It was one of those just elations. You're just like, "Oh my God, she spoke!" And then, holy crap, that's cool, demon art, But yeah, I mean, you just got to give it to Nezuko, I feel like.
Okay.
Spaz?
Unfortunately, my favorite character is actually a toss-up between 2 of them. It's the blacksmiths.
Oh, the blacksmiths?
Just because their appearance, is going to be hilarious.
Yeah. Nice.
Oh God, yeah.
Because you have the first one who, when he first showed up, here's just completely ignoring Tanjiro, then gives him his sword and is like, "I hope it's a red sword." Then it's black, and he's just like, "I'm gonna stab him."
And the fact that he had that interaction with Tanjiro should have known right from the get-go, the second time he came around, he was all giddy and happy to be getting his sword and everything. And I'm like, dude, that's not gonna, nope. And sure enough, the guy cans the other dude off his things and then just comes running at him with a knife. And I'm like, how did you not expect that to happen?
And then when Inosuke got his swords,
God.
Yeah.
and then immediately took a rock to it and just crack.
I was so surprised. I was like, "Oh, he has a new style of sword." I'm like, "Is he even gonna like those?" And he's like, "No, I'm not." Snap. I'm like, "Oh, I thought they were designed that way. I didn't know."
I'm pretty sure. Didn't he say that he had come across demon slayers in the forest, and I guess he took their swords?
Oh.
I think that was the reason why. I think he took demon slayer swords, and then he heard about the fest or the trial. And he was like, "Oh, I want to do that," and then just went ahead and did it.
I want to prove I'm the strongest.
Yep.
So where did Tanjiro get his first sword? Was it like a hand-me-down from
His trainer loaned it to him.
Yeah. That sword that he had in the trials, that came from the trainer.
That's right. Okay.
Which, so that took me off guard when the creepy girl pulled out that letter from him and said that both him and Gyu had agreed to Senpuku if
Nezuko ever
actually attacked a human.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, that's pretty major.
Yeah, that was.
And I mean, even Tanjiro later on when he came before he left that last episode, said to Q, thank you for placing that sort of, confidence and putting forth that effort to make sure and give her the chance. I was just like, damn, that's crazy.
Stakes high.
Oh, stakes are hugely high.
And I still think it's hilarious how the head honcho knows the one demon that's trying to help Nezuko.
Oh yeah. Because he made reference to her as Tanjiro was being carried away. He said, "Say hi to so and so."
Yeah.
Remember when Tanjiro came back after being
the meeting
taken
with
away?
the Hashiras?
Yeah, the meeting with the Hashiras, and he says, "I want to headbutt the dude another 3 times or whatever." When he got taken away, the head honcho of all of this tells Tanjiro, "Say hello to so and so," and he
I
was
can't even remember the name.
reference to the doctor that's helping Tanjiro, the demon doctor that's helping Tanjiro to try to cure Nezuko.
Oh, to get the blood syringes. Yeah.
But she knows about her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The head of the
is the demon. Yeah.
And he knows about her. I mean, how crazy is that? The head of the Demon Slayer. So it's no wonder why the head of the Demon Slayer bunch was okay with Nezuko.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm kind of confused about that one, the butterfly Hashira.
Oh yeah.
Because she's like, wait, no, it's a different one. I am confused about her, but the one that was like, we should all be friends.
Yeah.
That's the love one.
Yeah.
Oh, the love one.
The love one or the butterfly one?
Yeah, because the butterfly one I thought said we should all be friends.
Okay, then I am. Yeah, it is her.
She's okay. So she's the one in episode 20 that came across that others the female spider demon, and
how many have you killed?
Tackled her in the forest, asking her how many have you killed, because she's like, "Oh, I'll let you live, and then we can be friends."
But you must atone for what you've done.
But you must atone for what you've done.
Yeah. So
what are you confused about this?
So I want to know why. I can't remember if she said it or not, but at this moment, I can't remember. She says that she wants demons and humans to coexist.
It's because that's what her sister wanted.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, because they don't go into that until episode 22 or 23. Yeah, when Tanjiro's doing his training, and he's up on the roof doing his total concentration breathing.
Yeah, she's like basically.
Yeah, I'm sure you remember that. Just remember that I did the same thing I did, Spaz, where he's sitting there trying to do his total concentration. You hear mushy mush, mushy mush, and all of a sudden he turns and she's right there, and I'm like, oh hey. She has a tendency to do that.
Yeah. I do like that she kind of like passed the torch. She's like, this is something that I've been trying to do for so long, and it's like kind of not being the front of it, where it's like she wants to put effort towards it, but it's such a taboo thing with all the other members and with a lot of people that she can't really do anything about it. And now she can kind of relax because Tanjiro's like the face of it now.
Well, I think for her it was more because she was doing this because it's what her sister wanted.
Yeah.
She didn't necessarily believe it.
Yeah. It's actually even harder for her because a demon killed her sister.
Yeah. So she didn't believe it, but she knew that was something that her sister believed in, and the fact that she sees what Tanjiro does, I think not just with Nezuko but with other demons as well, is the reason why she's like, you might be able to accomplish the goal that I never thought I even really wanted to do in the first place.
So she was So I'm curious then why when she tackled was that just something that she says or?
It's because she feels obligated to do it because it's what her sister wanted.
Yeah.
Her sister wanted to be able to coexist between demons and humans. She wanted them to have a amiable relationship instead of having this constant battle between both sides. But then gets killed, dies in Shinobu's arms, and so Shinobu just feels obligated to carry that torch and be like, I will try to find a way for us to do this. So I think when she has those moments when she's just one-on-one with a demon or something like that, she's not afraid of them. She knows she can handle them. It's like she knew she could handle that one demon regardless of what she did. She just wanted to see, is it still possible for me to do what my sister wanted to be done?
Okay, so that's pre-Tanjiro. So post-Tanjiro, do you think that she would do the same thing? Or would she do more? Because she
at
knows
this point,
that it's possible.
At this point, I think she sees Tanjiro as a way to be able to maybe accomplish that, but she no longer wants to do it. She sees somebody else who can do it. And she's like, I don't want to do this. I don't believe in this. You believe in this, though. I'm going to pin all my hopes on you that you can accomplish something that I could never do, let alone believe in.
So let's say that they're in the forest again and her and Tanjiro are like way far apart. Do you think that she would kind of hold the demon and be like, hey, Tanjiro, can you take care of it? Or do you think that she would still like, let's be friends, that's not going to work out, still kill it?
I think she would just kill him at this point.
Okay. I think Tanjiro's actually had more of an influence on her. I actually think she would try to get along with most of them if they are trying to talk with her. But if they come up with hostility, I think she'll just put them down.
Okay.
For the most part. There is one exception on that.
So she's probably staying the same as she was before? Because the other one just so straight hostility, she killed it.
Yeah, that's how I think she would be.
Okay, I'm curious to find out, like, if meeting him like changes her behavior at all.
Well, there are two people in her, I guess, organization that Tanjiro has definitely changed their feelings / opinions.
Yeah.
You know that from the last episode.
There's going to be plenty more too.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
at least in her organization, those two girls, the one that was her basically disciple who didn't talk at all, and then the one who was helping train, both of them, I think, have been affected by Tanjiro at this point.
Yeah.
Definitely the coin flip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's definitely been influenced.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, like even when the coin was like floating in the air, she was like completely out of character. And she's like, I'm like, he's doing it.
Yeah.
He has that either Naruto effect or protagonist effect that always changes all the people around them. So, yeah. Let's see. What else do we have? So who is this show for?
Gosh. Honestly, if you like anime, it's for you.
Even if you probably don't like anime.
Yeah, it's still probably for you. I mean, I know for me personally, like my family is not a huge anime fan, at least like, not my dad, so I can kind of base it upon that. And I know for a fact with how they portray everything in here, storyline wise, and the realism that they show and throw in there as well, because even with all the fact that it's demons and all these people running around with breathing techniques and all that, there's still an element, I think, of realism into this. And I think for that, he would enjoy watching it. So even people, yeah, you're right. Even people who don't necessarily like anime would probably enjoy watching this.
I would say this would be a great introductory anime to someone.
Okay.
So someone who's never really watched it before, who's like, "Oh, isn't that just cartoons?" Like these.
No, actually, yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah.
I think this would be a great introductory anime because it has just enough violence and maturity without going overboard into like the massive gore type things that we've seen before in some.
Yeah. It also doesn't have those kind of stereotypes that some anime do, where it's like it's not all big boobs and robots.
Yeah.
So.
Not yet.
Season 2, big boobs and robots.
Well,
you thought we forgot? We didn't.
Well, there's the Hashira of Love. She is big boobed.
That's true.
And there is I won't spoil it. There's something interesting later on that happens.
Gotcha.
I would say, I guess I want to flip this one because who is it not for? I would say the only people that I wouldn't recommend this show for are people who don't like violence. Like, this is a pretty bloody show.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen worse by far.
Oh, yeah. This is, like, one of the more tame of a lot of shows. But, like, I could probably think of someone who I wouldn't recommend this for.
But, I mean, even then, like, you look at, like, the character lineup that they have, there's almost a character for anyone out there, honestly.
Yeah.
Even looking at the fact of Nezuko has a strong role.
Oh, yeah.
Nezuko, I think, is a strong female character who she can kick butt whenever she freaking wants to, but then she looks adorable while doing it.
And she can also kick the head off a demon.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, I'm like, that's pretty awesome. You know, Tanjiro is the unlikely hero who is forced into situations but still holds like a compassionate heart towards people. You know, Zenitsu is the I'm so worried and realistic about the fact that we're facing mythical beings that will potentially kill us and devour us, but is also secretly a badass on his own. And Inosuke is just like the lovable goofball, essentially.
Yeah.
Well, he's the competitive person.
Yeah,
not really a goofball. I would say.
I can still consider him a goofball because his because of the fact of how he grew up, his social interactions aren't quite there. Yeah. So he doesn't understand like the air around him of I probably shouldn't do that kind of thing. He just does it anyways, just because he wants to do it. You know, just like the fact of them burying the people that were in that demon house that had been killed, and he's like, "Fight me!" And he's like, I'm busy. I'm burying you. Fight me!" He's like, come on.
And then Tanjiro uses his words to get him to bring out all the bodies.
Yeah. He's like, well,
which is exactly what Shinobu did too, which I thought was absolutely hilarious.
Well, if helping us is too hard for you, and he's like,
understand you're in.
Patronize me, I'll bury every last one of them.
And I just wanted Tanjiro to walk away from that being like, well, my work's done.
Yeah. I do like that Zenitsu sticks to his guns in certain ways, where he's like, I'm not going into this forest. And like the battle's like halfway over and he's like, nope, I'm still sitting out here.
Yep. I am not going into I told you before I'm not going into it, and I meant it. I am not going into this forest. To be fair, with all the spiders in there, I would probably have been the same way.
Do we have freeze?
We might.
Technical difficulties.
Uno momento. There we go. Looks like he unfroze.
I absolutely hate my internet right now.
Okay.
Yeah, at least it doesn't disrupt the call at all.
Which is
yeah, whenever I have it, it's just locks everything up.
Crash.
But I would definitely say it's not for anyone under the age of 14.
Okay.
Because just the amount of violence that's in it, the amount of blood.
Yeah.
I don't know. I probably could have watched that when I was 10.
There are certain people more mature than others. But as I said, a general rule of thumb.
Fair enough.
Okay. Let's see. What is your favorite part? This is the spoiler section. So, if you want to go ahead and save save all of the surprises, either mute or skip ahead, because we might all talk about the same part, but but yeah, we're gonna go in depth for one specific piece of the show that's aired so far.
Well, I think it would be a disservice if I think at least me and Big D, considering we're both going to at least talk about that part with him facing the episode 19.
The lower fifth.
Yeah, it's just got to be said. I mean, I think it's got to be said. There's a reason why it was trending #1 worldwide on Twitter after it aired. I mean, God, that was such an amazing part.
Yeah. I would say this is probably taking the throne of God, I haven't seen Sword Art in so long. I have like most of the letters of Kirito. Kirito dual
wielding.
Yeah, dual wielding, and in dungeon against
the Minotaur fight.
This is like that tier of exciting moment.
I don't know. That's a tough call, but I mean, yeah, it's definitely up there, I'd say. And just I think because it pulls from both sides of that same sort of thought process. So like with Dungeon, when that Minotaur fight was going on, you wanted him to win it. You wanted him to overcome the obstacle that was the hurdle that he couldn't do. Right? That was the main thing. And when he did, you were like, yes! Awesome! And then with Kirito, he had that, like, when you didn't know what was going to happen because you're at this point where, like, everything was going wrong and you're like, oh my God, everyone's about to get wiped kind of thing. And then what ends up happening is he says, I need you guys to he's like, I need you guys to give me some time. And you're like, what is he gonna do? What is he gonna do? What possible thing can he do? And then he pulls out that double sword and goes at it, and you're like, oh my God, that is awesome, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, I think both of those feelings and both of those happenstances that occurred there got pooled into what happened on episode 19 with Demon Slayer.
Yeah.
You know, because you wanted him to kick Ryo's butt. You're like, oh my God, he just needs to die. It's just, you know, from the fact of he's hurt Nezuko. he's toying with him, you know, because he walks up to him going, do you really think you can kill me? Am I mistaken in thinking that? He's like, well, here, free shot. And I'm like, are you serious? He's just going to stand there? And he does. Well, I mean, he hits him twice, but still, he pretty much lets him hit his neck and nothing happens. Yeah. You're just like, oh my God. And then the whole thing when he does the 10th form, which he wanted to do at one point when he was facing Father, but didn't get the whole thing off because his father ended up launching him. And then came
Which was
back.
funny.
Oh, yeah. No, that was hilarious.
Because he was like, he had zero control. Like, normally when that happens, like, the character can, like, twist out of it or something like that. And he's like...
Oh, die!
He's like, Inosuke, don't die!
Yeah.
I'll be back later! Make sure you don't die! And he's, like, just flying into the distance.
I mean, I swear the first thing that occurred to me when I saw that happening, because I didn't think it was that hard until it did. And he did that, and I'm like, it's just Team Rocket blasting off again. I mean, just like, good Lord. So he does, and I'm like, oh my goodness. But then the fact that, so he goes and does the 10th form, he has that where the dude's like, this wasn't my final form, which makes sense. Everyone's like, oh my God, we're doing that anime trope. But like, if you think about it, it's like, look, he literally said he was toying with him. He was toying with him. So there's no reason why he can't pull out going, well, if you're going to amp up the ante, I'm going to up the ante too. So I'm like, well, that makes sense. But then I'm like, crap, because he freaking had a cage completely around him, closing in with those threads. And it's like, we've seen what those threads can do. We saw what they did to the one Demon Slayer that he caught up with it, and with his sister.
Yeah.
When he did that thing with it. And I'm like, good Lord. And then he pulls out the Hashira dance.
Yes, which I am so interested to find out, like, what else happens with it, or any more information about it with his dad. Like, it's
there's cool. And I know Spaz over there. I know you know more about what was going on with that.
There is so much stuff about that.
I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, the fact that he specifically, during his flashback memory, he specifically stated this dance, this breathing technique, and these earrings need to be passed down to you uninterrupted. And then goes, I promised them that. I don't know if that was the exact wording they did in the manga for that, but the fact that he says, I promised them that, leads me to believe there's another connection going on here.
That makes sense why what is the main guy? Like, what?
Muzan?
Yeah, that's why Muzan's like, those earrings.
Yeah. Well, and I think that was the only Hashira that ever gave him a problem.
Yeah.
So
that flashback.
Oh
no. It's another cliffhanger now.
Oh, there he goes. I think he's maybe. Yep. He had a moment. Up. We're both like up.
But yeah, probably my.
Wait, I think we missed all of that.
I think we did.
Oh no!
I have no idea what's going on anymore.
Okay.
Neither do we, because you stopped. Like,
you left off a major cliffhanger.
Yeah, you started that, and then all of a sudden you're like, anyways, and I'm like, wait. That's worse than anime.
So, the flashback for Muzan.
Oh, not again!
It happened again.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah. Maybe don't say the flashback for Muzan.
That's happened. It happens at the exact same moment each time. Oh, jeez. Well, he's figuring that out. Big Deco with ears.
Okay. Well, sounds like nobody's going to find out about that.
know the flashback with Muzan, and that's all we know.
Read the manga to find out. uh,
Oh,
yeah, I would say other than that like monumental moment, I would say probably the fight with like the Inosuke and Tanjiro fight. This is probably one of the shows where I'm like I actually remember mostly all the main characters' names.
Mm-hmm.
Just whatever they're doing, everybody, all the other shows need to do that too because I can't remember everybody else's name. Um, but yeah, the Inosuke and Tanjiro fight where they basically fell out of the house and then they didn't know each other at the time and they just started. Oh, what was it? He was trying to break open the.
Well, he was trying to kill Nezuko.
Yeah, and then.
And Zenitsu stopped him.
Yeah, and then Tanjiro found out what was happening, and then they just went into a brawl.
God, the choreograph and the movement in that brawl was just outstanding.
Yeah.
That was some of just like I've never seen movements in anime like that. And that was legit movements. Like that was like martial arts legit movements. I was just so utterly impressed by it.
Yeah.
It's just his initial hit when Tanjiro hits Inosuke the first time after he dashed off, and they do the Mortal Kombat X-ray vision of seeing Inosuke's ribs crack.
Ooh,
like,
yeah.
And even said, it's just going, what? He cracked his ribs! I'm like, wow, he heard that all the way over there.
Yeah. Yeah, that was. Yeah, the show is like top notch.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Spaz, do you have a moment?
Nope. We were going so well in the beginning. While he's figuring it out, we read the chat there.
Okay.
Okay, is it working now?
Okay, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so my favorite part was when they introduced all the Hashiras.
Okay.
That was cool.
Because you get to learn a little bit about their personalities. But, and it kind of sets the groundwork for later on when there's more interactions with them.
Okay.
Wasn't Flame Dude the one who said everything was flamboyant?
No, that was the guy with the chain swords on his back.
Chains.
Yeah. Because he had two swords and they were chained
Held together by a chain.
Oh, it wasn't the dude with the beads?
No,
he's how is everything is so sorrowful.
Yeah,
and crying
he
a
was
lot.
the one. Yeah, he was the one crying all the damn time.
He cries more than Zenitsu.
Yeah, he kind of does. He kind of does.
Okay.
I don't remember who was the one that said everything's flamboyant.
Oh,
That was.
And
I don't remember what he's the Hashira of, but it is the. Oh, it's the Hashira of Stone. No, not Stone. Something. I can't remember.
okay.
Oh yeah, because he had that weird tattoo over one eye.
Yeah, it was the guy with the chain sword.
Yeah, chain swords behind his back.
Yep.
Which you don't see too many people dual wield.
No.
Him and Inosuke, I think, are the only two that I know of.
I can't think of any others.
Okay. So, these are our favorite parts.
He's the sound, by the way.
Huh?
He's the sound Hashira.
Oh, it was sound?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's gonna be interesting because they played around with sound before with the
Bongo, dude. That's now we will ever know him as
I want to
Bongo
call
Dude.
it the Thomas, but that's not what it's called. Whatever that instrument is, the boom, boom. Okay, so we talked about our favorite parts. We have a question in the chat talking about what are some issues with the show that we think could be better, make it better.
Oh,
That's a hard question.
I can't. I can't honestly think of anything I would change on this show to make it better. I mean, the characters are great, the pacing is good, storyline's awesome, visuals are great, sounds awesome.
Pacing could be a little bit different to match up to the manga a little bit better.
Okay, what are the differences in like what could it?
So like the whole training sequence for Tanjiro.
Uh-huh.
Like what?
That was
in the very beginning, or
no, that was
the one where recovering it with the
the recovery with the blow into the gourd and blow it up.
Yeah.
That was a lot shorter in the manga.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I even considered that to be pretty short in comparison to a lot of other ones that I've seen.
Yeah, I do. I did notice that it was a bit long. It was entertaining. So I didn't really call that a flaw, but I did notice it was going. I was like, oh, this is the training arc. Like I kind of fell out of the flow of the story. And I'm like, oh, this is the training arc. I started thinking about stuff that I had just seen. I'm like, oh, his challenge is to blow into the gourds. Oh, then he has to repeat this one thing over and over. Then he has to get the other people into it. So I started like planning out what was going to happen, and it happened. So for me to kind of fall out of a very like captivating story and notice that and then call what was going to happen, I'd agree that that may have been too long.
Like I said, I guess I'm just, I don't know, I guess deadened by most of that, just because I know that I've seen training arcs last way longer than that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or you're just sitting there going, oh my god, we're still training. I mean, DBZ is always everyone's go-to, but I mean, there have been plenty of other animes who don't do the DBZ length of time training, but still do like an insane amount of training, quote unquote.
Well, even
and then you're like,
well, I guess so.
I mean, think about it this way: his original training in the mountains when he became one, I thought that was going to go way longer than it did.
Yeah.
I mean, they did time lapses on that thing, and I thought it was going to go way longer than it did.
I wonder if because of the events that happened in the second training arc that they couldn't really time. Well, they did time lapse it, but it was like not an obvious time lapse.
Yeah.
So
the length of time wasn't nearly as much, and you know that there was time that lapsed, but you don't know how much. Yeah. I mean, you knew they were pretty beat up, so there had to have been at least a couple of months, I would think.
Yeah, especially for Zenitsu's arms to grow back to proper size, and all of that. I don't think they called out a time frame.
No, they didn't.
Yeah.
By the way, the drum
weird, like. Okay.
The drum you're looking for, it's called Satsumi.
Satsumi. Okay.
I'm still gonna call him the Bongo Demon.
I know, but for all those out there who later on see this and are like, they didn't call it, but yeah, it's called Satsumi.
Okay.
But we know him as the Bongo Dude.
Yeah. So
it's funnier that way.
Yeah, and people know it's like Satsumi drum. You're like, a what? You're like, it's a bongo. You're like, oh yeah. Tapping on the top. Cool, I got it. Let's see. So okay, so I can see about the training sequence. Okay. I would say two. I have kind of like two half ones because I can't think of a full one. So I would say one half one is Less blood. Make it more palatable to a bigger audience.
See, I'm not sure I could necessarily agree with that though.
Yeah, that's why
only because I feel like if there was less blood, it wouldn't have as much of an impact as it does.
Okay.
Plus, it would kind of take away from some of the believability. It's like when you decapitate somebody, there's a lot of blood.
There's
People
a blood
are filled with
fountain.
a lot of blood. Yeah, there's a blood fountain. There's a lot of blood. You know.
What is it? The anime rules. Everybody has 10 liters of blood under high pressure at all times.
Something like that. But it's just like when they try to do something like that for, like, say, Berserk.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they tried to not, like, oh, a little less blood and everything. It's like, and then they try to do like a CG animation on it, and I'm like, no, you're taking away from the overall feel and the impact that it had. Like, there was a hard hitting impact when it was the hand drawn and just gushes of amounts of blood. I think, like, if they didn't have nearly as much blood in the scene where his, like, the very beginning where his family died, it wouldn't have felt as bad.
Okay.
It's like, you see all that blood, you know for a fact they got ripped apart.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
So
I can see where it'd be more of a palatable thing, but it might decrease from the overall experience.
Okay. My other half one. Oh, right.
Oh, just back to the blood thing. In the last episode with the head of the demon.
Oh yeah,
that was just being held by Muzan, and just this waterfall was coming out of it. That was a little grotesque.
But he had killed somebody else before that previously, and I think that was where part of the blood came from as well.
No, it was literally just a waterfall from the head. It was immense.
Because I thought he had killed someone on that same platform, but I could be wrong.
Somebody is. No. I don't. But so another half one would be the sense of urgency is kind of like all over the place. Like following the main characters, like everything's fine. But like I'm kind of thinking of like what's going on in the world, and it's every encounter is such a huge deal, and there's tons of people coming across all these encounters, and it's like if I think about the world, I'm like, you can't save everyone, but there's so many people going through so many issues. Like I don't know. I just feel like if you think about the world, it's very overwhelming at like how much dread and like terror is out there.
I mean, that's kind of true to life, but
yeah. So it's kind of like whenever they're like just chilling and like, I don't want to do training, and I'm like, you need to help these people. Like people are getting eaten as you're like, I don't want to drink my medicine. And we're like, So I don't know. It's like you kind of deal with what's in front of you. You can't save everyone.
Mm-hmm.
But when I feel like they're wasting time a little bit, then I'm like, all right. I don't know. I feel like it's truly wasting time. If I fall out of the story and I can like tell what's going on, then I feel like that's when I feel a little.
Well, see, I think, but see, part of that is just Zenitsu and his general, his I don't want to do this and whininess that he has, because Tanjiro is all about, let's get this done. Let's do this. Let's get this done. I'm pushing it. I'm training. I'm getting stronger. I'm trying to get this to a point where I can actually defeat one of the higher ranks and even defeat, Muzan at some point. Like, that's what I want to be at. He just doesn't, he can't always get there that quickly. So, but I mean, I totally see that. But I think, there's so much going on. You just want to make sure that, everyone seems there's not always tension in there to make it seem like it's important kind of thing, I guess what you're saying.
Okay. Was there any part that you think would be, I guess, could be improved on? Or I can't remember. I know we had the training sequence and my two half ones, and then
for me, as far as it goes,
yeah,
no, I can't honestly. To me, I thought just because, I mean, again, maybe it's just because I've experienced way slower in arcs before and everything, that I thought the pacing was done fairly well. And I even thought, like, just because they pretty much they only took like one episode literally to do his training and the beginning, and literally spanned almost 3 years. But I'm like, all right, well, we're just clipping right along here, aren't we? We're not even gonna hold back. You just want to get onto this. All right, I see how this is going. All right, cool. He didn't have necessarily. He had character growth in the fact that he got better at what he was doing, but he didn't have internal character growth. But I think Tanjiro is the type of character who doesn't really need a whole lot of that, because he's managed to do what he's been able to do even before he even, he was good enough as is from the start, I think, which is rare in a character when you're a main character.
Like, he doesn't really have anything that you feel is lacking that needs to be improved.
The only thing he needs to improve is his ability to be able to take out demons. Which that's what he's working on. So, I mean, you can't fault him for that.
He's not like Zenitsu who whines all the time.
Yeah. Zenitsu has room to grow. Inosuke has room to go. Tanjiro and Nezuko almost seem like pretty much right where they need to be.
I'm trying to think what do some of the people with more experience get on Tanjiro about? There isn't really much. I feel like somebody said something to him once. I can't remember what it was. But yeah, I don't know. He's as far as protagonists go, he's very, very well done, because let's say you have a character who learns a lot, improves, and finds a way to be on top, whether he gets beat up or not. He's not as bad as what is his name from My Hero Academia?
Bakujo?
No, the other green guy.
Deku?
Deku, yeah. He's not as bad as Deku, where Deku's destroyed, literally, and they're like, we can't keep fixing you, you're gonna literally break yourself. I'd say Tanjiro is not that extreme, but he's close enough but competent enough to not be completely out. So I feel like he might be skirting that line, when he mixed the fire and the water, but he
understood his limits.
Yeah.
He understood, because that was when he did that, he knew right from the get-go. He's like, if I stop now, I'm done. I'm going to be immobile for a period of time, and I'm not going to be able to do anything.
Yeah.
So he's like, I have to finish this now.
Yeah. Yeah, so I feel like he's more, I don't know, I can't really say that's a flaw, because I don't know, I feel like Deku knows his limits too, but then Deku's like, I have to do this, the rest of everybody dies. And then he's just
Deku's all about exceeding those limits and going beyond, because I mean that's whole go plus beyond ultra. Plus ultra. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's the whole thing. We what is it that said that we make the lip service of a hero into reality. You know, he'll do whatever he has to do, even if it means hurting himself. But he does know he does have limits. He just doesn't always care about those limits, I guess.
Okay.
But Tanjiro knows he has limits, and he's more human in that regards because he's like, all right, I have limits, and I know I'm getting to that point where I'm not going to be able to do anything.
Yeah.
So he's like, either I figure this out now and take care of it, or I have to just go. I can't do this.
Yeah, so I guess the person who would take Deku's spot is Inosuke.
Yeah.
Because Inosuke is like bleeding, busted ribs, just torn up, and he's like, "Fight me!"
Yeah. So, he's like, "I still need to fight. I can do this." Oh, and you're like, Inosuke, you're badly wounded. Stop it.
Yeah. You defeated this demon in front of me. That defeated me. I must defeat you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was hard coming up with like I had to like nitpick it like half stuff that wasn't really. But I do agree with that the training arc. Like out of all training arcs, this is like the most stellar training arcs possible. But if you had to pick, like everything's like 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, and the training arc is like 9.8 out of 10. You're like, that's the only thing that's wrong with this show that I can think of right now.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
So, yeah. Can't wait till the show comes back. Can't wait till the movie comes out and see what that is going to be like.
And see, with the world that they have built on here, this is almost like one of those worlds where I want to know more about it in general. So if they did something like what Railgun and all the rest of them did, where they had like a side thing going off of it, I'd be perfectly okay with that.
Oh yeah, just like switch to a completely different part of the world,
and like a different character or something like that, but still be within the world itself.
Yeah, like and the main character to do like a cameo, like you follow somebody from like their harsh beginnings and their rise through the ranks, and then like they teamed up with Tanjiro or something like that. Like yeah, this just like with like how we had mentioned with Overlord, with Gate, with Gate, with a lot of the other like shows that have Slime and like other places where you know you're in one village out of a kingdom and like you only visit like 2 or 3 locations. They haven't really focused on building the world. They've spent a lot of time developing the characters.
But they put a lot into the lore though too.
Yes, they built up the lore and they built up the characters. So you can see how the world can be huge, whether they want to make it huge or not. It's very like just the whole framework is very well built.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
So yeah, Demon Slayer special season. Go check it out. The next show we're going to talk about after about 2 hours is Dungeon Season 2. I need to fix this picture.
Dungeon. All right, so
I feel like we should have talked about. So this is the show that I was talking about, where I feel like I should have watched this one first and then watched Demon Slayer. And I kind of feel like we should have talked about this one first and then talked about Demon Slayer.
I mean, okay, your opinion between season 1 and season 2, which one was better?
Season 1, because I felt like, and I can't remember everybody's name in this show. I feel like the main guy is fighting against the forces of evil and everybody else is teaming up with him. And in this show, I feel like he's involved with some kind of petty, like, people stronger and above him are causing trouble for him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just dealing with all of that, dealing with the fallout from all of that.
Yeah. I honestly, I completely agree. I feel like season 1 did such a better job. Don't get me wrong, there were parts in the season 2 that I thought were really cool.
Oh yeah.
His battle, his doing the war games with Apollo.
Oh yeah.
That
and
was awesome.
and him going into like their whole plan with that, like that whole episode, that was the best episode of the entire season for me. That was just the absolute. I love the planning. I love the execution. I love when he goes into the tower and all of a sudden, like, his hand is starting to glow, and I'm like, what the hell is he gonna do? And the next thing you know, he's like, I'm gonna fire a freaking fireball all the way up to the very top and bring you down to me. And I'm like, or go up to you through that. And I'm like, holy crap! I did not expect that.
Yeah.
You know, things like that was just awesome. But I can feel like there was more awesome moments in the first season than there was in the second. Like, I could have done
There's no Minotaur
completely.
moments.
Yeah, I could have done completely without the love goddess arc.
Mhm.
You know, if they had just if the Fox lady had just they had just found her, or something else had happened between that to make them go like, all right, here she is, now she's part of our group, I'd have been perfectly okay with that. I'd have
If he
been
would have
like,
saved her right off the bat.
or if he'd have saved her right off the bat, I'd have been perfectly okay with that. But we had to go through this whole long ordeal, this whole long spiel, and I'm like, come on. We all know what's going to happen in the end anyways. Let's just go ahead and make that call.
Yeah.
You know? And then the whole thing with him and the goddess at the very end.
Oh, the two spoiler episodes, the two filler episodes at the end.
Yeah, I'm just like, we could have done without this.
No,
This was unnecessary.
those were textbook filler episodes. You have a character who goes a little bit wilder, out of control than normal. They go to a new area, which is she's not allowed out of town, and she has to go out of town. You have some random battle that's happening that doesn't affect the story at all. She gets wrapped up in all of that. You get transported to a completely brand new setting. You have backstory from characters that are kind of related to the main story, but don't really matter totally. And there's a festival going on. And then you build a relationship between two of the characters completely isolated from the rest of the story. And then you walk back into town like nothing ever happened.
So, you know, let me just pose you this. Would you have been happier with like a beach episode?
It's like, what do you get from a beach episode? A bunch of female characters in skimpy outfits and then guys ogling over them. They had a whole arc of that. It's like the whole Love Town episode with like a whole arc of that.
Well, yeah, I'm like, we already went there. Just go all the way and do the trope. I mean, it's like you already started it. Just finish it in there. Yeah,
so,
I just that this whole season was just for Dungeon was just lackluster. You know, we barely saw him going into the dungeon, which is apparently a big focal point somewhere along the way.
Yeah, it was. Everybody's like, oh, the dungeon's getting out of control. And they're like, oh, we're just gonna level up a little bit, get some money.
Oh, he leveled up an insane amount.
Well, he did. But like, okay, so that was the other thing too. That was the other thing that disappointed me. He levels up and we're like, oh, he leveled up.
Awesome. Yeah, the whole town's like, oh my God.
Oh my God. And then we're immediately presented with characters who are higher level than him. And then we're like, well, his level just sucks now. it pretty much cut out from underneath any sort of like excitement that you had from him leveling up. The only excitement you can have now is the fact that it took him way less time to level up than everyone else. But you're looking at going, and
Yeah.
Because didn't he start that season out at level 2, and then he, at least to where I got,
now
he was level 4.
Okay.
I thought he was only level 3.
Yeah, he ended up hitting level 3, and that's when everybody celebrated.
He hit level 3, and then I think maybe
when he
went
got
to
the
level
power, when he got the power from the girl, he was level 4,
4. Mm-hmm.
fighting against Frog Lady, and then man,
Talk about another anime trope. See, there was just too many tropes in this freaking series now in this season. They were like in the first
Oratoria. Didn't they mention something Oratoria in that show?
It's like the first season they're like, we're gonna be new, we're gonna be creative, we're gonna be innovative, we're gonna do this, and then the second season rolls around, and they're like, I don't have an idea. Well, let's pull on the anime tropes. We haven't done that yet.
Go get the checklist.
Go get the checklist.
Let's put some filler episodes at the end. This will be a festival. Let's come up with some character designs. Like, all right, all the characters are already very well designed, but we're gonna
do the fan service.
Half of them be fan service characters. Let's see. Except one. Gotta make them the ogre character. All right. Have we had a fox girl in this series? No, not yet. All right, let's have one of those. Just check them out. Pulled out the handbook.
It's like there was no, and had there been like in the first season, had there been even mention or looks of some of this stuff, I'd have been like, okay, cool. But the only like, the only thing I remember from the first season was like we had dwarves and elves, we had your stereotypical D&D fantasy races.
We did have dog ears though.
But see here, like in this one, they made a big deal about the fox girl.
Yeah.
The other ones, they never made a big deal about the fact that there was a girl or a person with dog ears. I'm like, why is it now important? It's like, I want some consistency. Consistency in world building, please.
I'm just waiting for season 3. Like, I feel like this whole season was like a filler season.
I feel like that way too.
So I'm like, the whole, like, wow, the more I think about it, it's like that. So you have the leader of this other kind of dungeon town who's jealous of our main dungeon town. And she comes up, like, she just overhears this one thing that freaking dude plotted. I'm starting to dislike him. And
Hermes,
yeah. And yeah, and then they basically just destroy this town, and then they're like, okay, back to where we were at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, because that town was never mentioned in the first season. That part, the red light district part of town, was never mentioned in the first season. Now all of a sudden we have a red light district.
Hmm?
Belle would never go there in the first part.
Belle would never go there. Like,
he still wouldn't. He got dragged there because one of the side characters is like, hey, let me get us involved in some huge
drama
distraction.
The blacksmith knew of it, though. That wasn't his first time going there.
Doesn't surprise me.
But he never mentioned it. Never mentioned it.
Let's just say his nights there were magical.
Well, apparently his second night there was godly.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's the whole season. Okay, let's go through. Would you recommend this season? out of the 3 seasons that they've done before. I haven't seen Sword Oratoria, so out of the 3, like how do they kind of pile up together?
I honestly, no.
Yeah, this is
I could almost say like whatever comes out after this, skip this season, go to the next one. You're like, well, what about the fact that they're in a bigger house now, and now they have another character involved with them, and I'm like, let me just break this down to you. I could
been
really
there, done that. Konosuba did it first.
I'm like, I could write you. Let me write you a paragraph, and I can pretty much summarize that entire season for you.
Mm-hmm.
Take the Cliff Notes version. It'll be better.
It'll be better. Exactly. Take the Cliff Notes version.
Okay. Who is it for? People who want fan service.
Yeah. This is, when they first introduced the Red Light District, I'm like, oh God, no, please, no.
But
why?
Okay, they're like, okay, cool. This is like a twist on the beach episode. It'll be over in like 20 minutes. No.
The rest of the season.
Yeah.
All but the last episode.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Well, this one kind of didn't meet your expectations.
No.
What were we? Did we talk about this one and what it might be? None of what we predicted probably happened at all.
No, not at all.
We're talking about Zeus and.
I want to see Zeus.
Yeah.
What else did we?
I mean, we talked about the fact that we're like, we want to see more about the dungeons getting worse. Enemies are coming out from that. We're talking about how the goddess of the love goddess was like manipulating Bell and
pretty much making him super powered.
Yeah, trying to level him to a godly hero status or whatever, pretty much putting him like, it's almost like Hercules essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Story of Hercules becoming a hero kind of thing. And it's only so they never said anything about anything else besides the dungeon. Now all of a sudden there's like, oh, there are 3 quests to become for a hero quest, and only 2 of them got done. One of them has not been done yet. But this is the first time it was mentioned.
Yeah.
Like, the only thing you alluded to was the fact that Bel is Zeus' son. That's it. You couldn't have alluded for the fact that there's a black dragon roaming the freaking skies somewhere.
One-eyed black dragon.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
I thought he was Zeus's grandson.
No, I think he was Zeus's son.
I think I heard son, but maybe.
Because I thought he was raised by his grandpa, which was Zeus.
Yeah, but Zeus was doing the whole Zeus thing of, I'm going to take on a human form and look after or train up my prodigies to be able to become another hero kind of thing.
Okay.
Who is your favorite character?
I'm
gonna say the little supporter girl.
Yeah, but see, both her and the blacksmith barely had any screen time this time.
Yes. But I'm so impressed by her, like, changing forms and tricking everybody.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
Because when that guy came out, he's like, "Hey, da 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 da," and I'm like, I was like, he's kind of pushy. I mean, is he? I feel like he's rushing everybody, and then he like did something else, and I'm like, why is he in such a hurry? And then somebody else is like, isn't this going kind of quick? I'm like, yeah, it is going kind of quick. And then it's like, hey, I'm like, oh my God. I was like, I was about to figure it out, but yeah, so I was impressed by that.
So I had a hunch that it was her as soon as the one said, "Don't let him in. It's a trap," or a Trojan horse.
Oh.
Yeah.
She did say that.
I wanted those two to join the guild. I really did.
Yeah.
I was kind of disappointed that didn't happen.
Well, that whole knife incident, $200 million knife. Wait, did he go pick it up? Because he was fighting with a sword that broke, right?
He has a knife. He's had the knife.
Okay, because I remember it got knocked out of his hand and then he picked up something else.
Yeah, no, he's had the knife.
Okay. I'm like, man, very expensive.
He needs to put that thing on a bungee cord.
Yeah.
Like a little chain. It's like it is. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel like it was like they spun it out of the whole we got all the money now because we. What did they do?
Because they defeated Apollo.
Yeah, they defeated Apollo and we took all his stuff and they're like, yeah, now we're gonna do something. And then the one girl just fumbled through somebody else's stuff and be like, hey, I found some of your business. Let me just show it to everybody.
Yeah.
It's just a bill for the sword. So I'm like, I don't know. I just felt like it was a very silly spin of things.
For sure.
My question is, with all the money they got from Apollo, because Apollo was loaded, how could they have not paid back the knife?
I would have thought that would have been the first thing on the list. I think she was because she's so embarrassed that she's like the shortest goddess with the smallest familia, that she wanted to show off so much that she basically just put all that money so she could flaunt it and try to grow her familia rather than taking care of business.
Sounds about right.
And then it just collapsed immediately. Yeah, it's like they did the same path that Konosuba did, where it's like, oh, the new season we have a bigger house, everything. And they're like, yeah, we got all this stuff. But then Konosuba, they're like, and everything got repossessed, so we got a big bunch of empty rooms. But at least they're not in a stable anymore. So
They were under a church.
Yeah, so as far as morale for the characters, they're like, cool, now we're not sleeping on hay and stuff like that. For this show, it was kind of like, cool, we get to have a moment in a hot spring. And then that's the only thing I remember about the house. Everything else is kind of just.
Well, she gave the samurai chick a hot spring because she had to be, racist and stereotypical and give the Japanese person a hot springs because, and she had to be absolutely enamored and in love with it. And instead of, and then she gave the other person, the blacksmith, his smith. So she gave the smith something useful, something he's going to use and potentially help the familia out with. And then she gave the freaking samurai a freaking bathhouse.
Essentially.
Not a training grounds, not
not a dojo to
But we're gonna give you a bathhouse.
Didn't what's her name also get something? The little one?
I don't
remember. Supporter?
What did she get?
Because I know she got. I remember correctly. She got something for each part of the familia.
They didn't spend any time in it, I don't think.
Yeah, I was about to say. If they did something,
let's go over to the bathhouse.
Yeah, we wanted to spend more time in the bathhouse than anything else.
Yeah, I don't remember. That's crazy. What else? Are we still on? Would you recommend this show?
I think we moved on from that.
Okay. And who is more people who like fan service? Did it meet your expectations? No. Okay.
Yeah, that's where we're.
Okay. Who's your favorite character? And, that's where we are. Yeah. I said the little supporter girl. Any other?
I'm gonna say the blue haired girl who could see the future.
Oh, okay.
She was neat.
Yeah, I liked her, and I felt bad for her because she would tell people good things and good advice, and no one would listen to her.
Yeah.
Except for Belle. Belle was the only one who listened to her.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I thought, regardless of what was going to happen, I'm like, well, she's going to join. Belle's the only one who listens to her. She tries to tell people these things. Even her best friend doesn't listen to her.
Yeah.
Spaz, who's your favorite?
I'm going to have to go with Supporter Son.
Okay, nice.
And that's just mainly because, she's really intelligent if you just pay attention to her.
Yeah, especially how she went back to her old familia just so she can get an opportunity to like set up a
leave
where she can leave. Yeah.
Oh, when she walked up to Soma and he made her drink that, I'm just like, oh, I've never wanted to punch another god in the face.
Yeah.
And then when she said, please let me out, I need to help Belle, I'm just like, yay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I think I would still wanted to punch Apollo in the face more.
Oh.
You know, this season was full of punchable gods.
It really was.
Especially Hermes.
Even Hestian needed a smack upside the head.
Pay off the knife.
Mm-hmm. So here we go, Big D. We went from first season of give him the knife, give him the knife, give him the knife, to now second season, pay off the knife, pay off the knife, pay off the knife.
Why didn't you pay off the knife? So,
5 people for a mansion. Makes sense.
Yeah, it's like, can you just sell the mansion and get yourself like a smaller place to live?
Yeah.
And then pay off the freaking knife like you should?
Yeah. Well.
So basically, I want to say this. After episode 4, this whole season just lost me.
Okay.
After episode 4. Because episode 5 is... I had high expectation because that was after we defeated Apollo. And I'm like, okay, that's done and out of the way. We did this because we needed a bigger place to stay. We're going to have more people coming into the Familia. This is great. Awesome. And then we had to go to the silly, crazy route of doing the Konosuba thing. And then we had to go to the fan service of the red light district. And I'm like, this was all unnecessary. Every piece of this was completely unnecessary.
Is this kind of taking the same path that Overlord did?
Yeah.
Or this is our Lizardman saga?
Yeah. Yeah. Essentially. That went on far longer than it ever needed to be. Far longer.
I'm just going to say, unfortunately, the Lizardman is in the manga.
They had to do it. That's why. I can just hear all the disappointment in that sigh. That's great.
Probably not to the extent the freaking anime did it.
Oh, no, it was stupidly long in the manga.
Oh, okay. Why didn't somebody have the brilliant idea in the anime to go, you know what? We're going to go run off the tracks here.
They should have done fan service.
Not going to do that. We're going to do fan service instead. Skip that arc entirely. We'll make mention of it, and that's about it.
They're like, actually, said one character and say that he went and did something and brought back whatever resulted from that arc.
We now control the lizards. Awesome. That's all I needed to know. Great. Appreciate it. You're the best.
Yeah. So I think what our the next part is, what is your favorite part? I know mine is kind of tied into. Well, actually, is there another moment for me that's different from the girl, the supporter tricking everybody?
I mean that whole episode 4, that whole episode was just absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah,
I
have to
can't
agree.
I can't even say that there's one part. It's just the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's like for Demon Slayer. Episode 19 was just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
This episode 4, fantastic. Or no, was it 4 or 3?
It was the fight.
Yeah, it was the fight.
Yeah, War Games. Episode War Games. I'm like, is there anything cool that happened outside? Like,
No. Not a damn thing. Okay, yeah, it was episode 4. Yeah, not a freaking damn thing. Talk about disappointing.
The only other cool thing was supporter going to the Soma family to get released.
Yeah, but that literally was like, that was episode 5.
Yeah.
It was right after episode 4.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God. Dang, that sucks.
It is. I had such high expectations for this season, and it just got obliterated, honestly. Even having watched the previous one with the sword princess.
It's like 5 or 6 episodes of just fan service arc.
Yeah. Literally.
2 episodes of a filler.
Yeah.
They dropped. Okay.
And 4 episodes of character development.
Mm.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, they dropped the ball.
Hard. Did you watch, have you read this one, Spaz?
I've read as much as I can. Unfortunately, this is started out as a light novel, so it's a lot harder to find. But for what's there for the manga that I've read, it actually stuck pretty close.
Okay.
Even with the whole red light district thing?
Unfortunately, what I was able to read didn't even get up to there. It got up to
the War Games?
No, it was actually still in season 1.
Oh. So maybe this whole season was a filler.
I thought the manga was gonna be done. They're like, no. Oh.
we already greenlit this, so all right.
Unfortunately, as I said, being a light novel, it's a little bit harder to find the actual source.
Yeah.
I'd have to read that.
Okay. So yeah, if you do find it, that'd be cool to know, like, what if they're on track.
Yeah.
Because
or if they went, or if they derailed the train for this one.
Oh no, it's heading towards the orphanage.
Man, it hit the orphanage, it hit the children's hospital, it hit all of them along the way.
It hit the ambulance parking lot.
The old folks' home.
The old folks' home.
Oh, man.
And a pet store full of puppies and kittens.
Agony. All right. Well,
this show got a worse rap than Zenitsu.
Yeah.
Oh, God, it is so bad.
A sad showing for this show.
It really was.
They'll come back swinging next time.
Hopefully.
All right. The next show we're going to talk about is the long-named daughter. If it was for my daughter, I'd even defeat a demon lord.
Okay, so I didn't have much expectations going into this one.
Okay. Would you recommend it?
I'm on the fence about recommending it.
Uh-huh.
Only because, like, if you were to have asked me in the first 3 episodes, which is usually what we give it when we want to see if we're going to continue something or not, I would have said no. I would have said it's just not enough. They're gimmicky. They're just in a fantasy world, and he has a demon daughter. That's it. I mean, that's what we're doing, which is true. But since then, they've been sprinkling little pieces of potential interesting things going through this, which has made me curious.
Okay.
They put more of the lore into this, so you know that there are multiple demon clans in the world.
Okay.
And they made mention at one point of the fact that I think they number them, and like I want to say it was the first demon or something, like the first demon lord is no longer alive. But they made reference to the fact that there could be a demon to take his place.
Is this the show where he found
Demon girl? Yeah.
Well, he found the demon girl next to a dead demon.
Well, not next to a dead demon. She came to him when he was cooking fish.
Oh, I'm mixing it up with another show.
Yeah, he came to him when she was cooking fish because he was hungry, and then she showed him where basically her father had said never to come over here, and that's because he went over there and died basically. So he took her in. They went through, I guess, their news network to find out if there was any information on a lost demon child, but nothing came up. So he decided to basically take her as his daughter for now and take care of her. His personality goes a little over the top with her, and I kind of wish they would tone that down just damn tiny bit. I mean, don't get me wrong, she is adorable, but the way he goes on about her sometimes, I'm like, he lives at a restaurant, and there's it's run by a husband and wife, and both of them look at him every time he starts going on about her like, oh my god, just shut up. And half the time I'm like, I'm with you guys. He needs to just stop it. And then there are other times he's perfectly... Huh?
Unfortunately, it is source accurate.
That's what I figured. That's what I figured. But they make reference to things like that, and they made reference, and it sort of makes me lend to believe that eventually she is going to grow up. I think maybe in between this and the next season, if they do another season, she is going to grow up to potentially become the next demon lord.
Okay.
There's a strong possibility of that. But I think her experiences living with humans as a child is going to... There's animosity between humans and demons, and I feel like she's going to be the one to bridge the gap.
Okay. So when she becomes the next demon lord, is there like she has to basically stay at the demon castle?
I'm assuming she's going to be in the lands because each one of them has their own like territory or whatever. So I'm assuming she'll have to go there eventually.
Okay, so there's more than one.
Oh yeah, no, there's multiple. I think they either mentioned 3 or 4. I want to say. And
then to be the demon lord, do you have like underlings and stuff like that? So she'll basically be like, "Hey guys, I'm back. I'm in charge now," or
no idea. Like I said, they're literally just sprinkling in little bits of information here and there throughout the anime. I don't know how the manga goes. They could be a little bit more direct in the manga, but you get a lot of information, and I think what the first season was to get you involved with the characters and to show that she is gaining life experiences that will eventually lead her down a better path than most other demons. Okay. Is what I feel like. So it's like I said, in the beginning I was kind of mad about it. Now I'm like, would I recommend it? I almost want to wait to see if there's another season that comes out for it and watch that and then say for sure if I'd recommend it or not. I'm like on the fence. What the showing that you got for now is interesting with the little tidbits and teasers that they give you, but I don't think is enough to warrant like it being and maybe just because Demon Slayer was what's on everyone's mind, so it kind of brings down most other ones that didn't live up to that. But I feel like it just doesn't. It wasn't all the way there. I wanted it to be more than what they showed. Okay. So, anyways,
Spaz, would you recommend this show or the manga?
I wouldn't recommend it to any of my close friends just because it's not their style.
Okay.
But if I knew someone who was into stuff like this, yeah, I would recommend it to them. But it's kind of audience.
It fits a niche audience right now.
Okay. And I guess what kind of audience is that? Like, specific flavor of demon fantasy, or
you kind of have to be more towards like a slice of life almost.
Yeah.
So it's a slice of life that just happens to have demons in it.
Yeah.
For the moment, yeah. I feel like there's going to be more involved with that later on, and it will eventually evolve into what it needs to be. I just feel like they thought, you know how most animes they'd be like, we're just going to throw you directly into the action, give you no rhyme or reason for anything that's going on, no background on whose relationship with who or what's going on with the characters, and then we'll like slowly progress later on down the line where we're kind of throwing that in there. In this one, they were like, we're going to give you all the backstory. We're going to give you all the backstory all up front, and then we'll bring you up to speed kind of thing.
Okay.
That's kind of what I felt. But it's such a different, because the first way I said is almost always what anime does.
Yeah.
We're just going to throw you into the action, hit you hard, and then you got to figure this stuff out. And we'll kind of give you like hints along the way.
Like double dutch.
This is such a different way of doing it. If they go the way I think they're going, that I kind of feel like that would be it just takes you off guard in that regards. So that's why it's hard to recommend it to people, and especially those who are veterans of anime, because it just doesn't. We have our animes like Dungeon who decided we're gonna get the trope list out and just go check all the boxes, and then we have this one. You're like, we're gonna hit some of those boxes, but we're gonna veer off and take this alternate route too.
Gonna take the scenic route.
yeah, basically. That's just kind of the way I feel about it.
Okay. The next question is, did it meet your expectations? I guess where I can't remember if we had talked about where did we think this was gonna go. And it's like it didn't get there, obviously.
I didn't really have any expectations for it. I knew that this was like a demon girl, a human guy was going to be taking care of her, and that was pretty much what you got from it. And you knew he was an adventurer. And I'm like, all right. I knew this was going to be more story-driven than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, I think they did an okay job on. Not the greatest, not the worst I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And the character development, I think, is okay. So this is kind of like one of those just middle-of-the-road, mediocre kind of shows so far. I can see potential, but I don't know if it's going to go that way.
I guess, who's your favorite character?
Latina. She's just adorable. I mean, she's just utterly adorable. Okay. And like I said before, when you had with Demon Slayer with Nezuko, when she was getting stabbed in the box, everyone was all just up in arms and just being like, oh my God, no, there is a scene with her where she ends up getting hurt by her own volition, and it really pulls at you. So that's why I'm like, I kind of feel like she's really the central focus, and she's and on her own a great character for that.
Okay.
Spaz?
As I said, I'm not real big into slice of life, so none of the characters really kind of got my attention. It's kind of interesting, but it's just not one that can
Really pull
my
you
attention. Yeah.
Oh, I get you. Like I said,
Okay.
there has to be something amazing for me to get to it.
Okay, so I guess kind of like what I do with Psycho, if there's a like that the camp show, you do camp where they're just let's go camping. What I guess were you expecting anything when you started the show? Like the reason why you picked it up, or what could they have added to make you hooked? Like what in this style of show were you looking for that you kind of didn't get, or something like that?
I mean, I came into it looking at it as a fantasy, and just wanting to have that fantasy aspect of it. I wanted to see because this was not an isekai.
Yeah.
I wanted I'm like, okay, we're not transported to another world where magic and dragons and all this stuff exists. This is literally the world we're in. This is what's happening. And I'm like, cool. So I'm always looking for, God, it was an old anime, but it was pure fantasy. It was just pure, unadulterated fantasy. Where like there was a war going on, but like, people were fighting, and it's just, when I want that fantasy look and that feel, that's where I'm going for, and that's kind of what I wanted here. Now we're in that world and we're doing these things, but because the main focus was on Latina, I did not. There wasn't a whole lot of that fantasy feel other than the fact that she's a demon, and the only way you can discern that she's a demon is that she has horns and she wears bows to cover those horns because humans would freak out if they saw her horns.
So if she didn't have horns, it would just be some abandoned, like some girl.
Yep. So far.
Okay.
Now they've touched on like little bits of magic that she can do. Like she's what, 6, 7 or something like that?
I think she's 8.
She's 8? Okay. Yeah. And she can do healing magic, which is unheard of for anyone. Well, it's unheard of for anyone so young. For a demon, it's not out of the realms of possibility.
Okay.
Because magic is cast in their language.
Yeah.
That's right. I remember him saying that. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Which is the only reason he was able to communicate with her at first, because he actually knows how to cast spells. So it was that was interesting. It was almost like you see someone going to another country here who kind of knows the language, but only a little bit. So what he was saying was very like jarring kind of thing, but enough for her to be able to understand. Yeah, very crude, but she can still understand it kind of thing.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's like I said, I didn't go into it with a lot of expectations. I just wanted something fantasy. Okay. It kind of hit those things a little bit. You got to see some magic happen. There was some creatures that we saw. I mean, some of that stuff was there. There just wasn't a whole lot of it because the main focus was on Latina. So.
Okay, so Spaz, like, what got you to pick this up, and what were you expecting?
I'm a fantasy reader. One of my favorite genres is fantasy.
Okay.
I was just like, let's take a look at this. So I started reading it. I was like, it's kind of interesting. I read all the way through what they had, which wasn't much. And then I heard about it released as an anime. I'm like, I'll give it a watch.
How many episodes did you get through?
Until Latina hurt herself.
I mean, that kind of pulled on you a little bit. I don't know about me, but I don't know about you, but it did me.
It was a little heartrending.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What is your favorite part?
Um, I honestly can't think of one. I mean, they're all kind of middle of the road for me. Nothing really stands out as like, oh my God, this was amazing. This was great. You know, even funny moments, a lot of times situations or problems arose and we immediately took care of them. So it's like it never anything seemed like it was too serious or that it couldn't be handled. And the comedy was more the main guy's reaction to the fact of her being adorable, or if he had to potentially leave for any reason. He didn't want to leave her, but sometimes he had to for work, so he'd always start freaking out or getting all sad and depressed and everything. And I'm like, I mean, I guess that could tickle somebody's funny bone, but not mine.
Okay.
So,
Spaz, do you have a favorite part?
Probably when Latina got lost, and she had to try to find her way back to the inn
okay, I can see that.
because she was speaking very, very broken language and trying to say where she came from to a bunch of kids her age.
I don't know. I don't know about you, but I feel like this to me this season kind of feels like this would be like in movie terms if Marvel Endgame came out and then like three other movies came out at the same time, and you go to see Marvel Endgame and then you go watch those other three movies,
Yeah.
and you're just like, you know, you get off of Endgame, you're like, oh my God, that was amazing, that was awesome, oh yeah, and then you watch the other ones going, I mean, you know, it's okay, you know, it's sad, but it's true.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that is it for this one. Seems like it's a pretty chill show with a chill chill what is it?
Chill. Just go chill.
Slice of life, Jesus. A chill slice of life show with a splash of fantasy.
Basically.
I'd say that's accurate.
Okay. The next show and the last show we're going to be talking about today is Isekai Cheat Magician. We should have saved Dungeon for. We should have saved Demon Slayer for last.
Yeah, we really should have.
That was the bulk of our conversation.
Really was.
It's like 90 minutes Demon Slayer and then 30 minutes the rest of the show.
That's what I said. This is why I said in that movie analogy. It's like this is what it felt like. So Isekai Cheat Magicians. Again, I'm just gonna have to say it's middle of the road for me. I didn't hate it. I didn't drop it. I continued watching it all the way to the end, at least for what they have. This is again another isekai. People get transported from another world into this world. Originally, it was only supposed to be the guy. Like he's walking through town, and a magic circle opens up underneath him. But he was walking with the girl that's in the picture as well. And basically he tries to push her away, but she reaches out and grabs him anyways and gets transported with him. And then the fact that during their transportation sequence or whatever, the person summoning them got into a tussle and the magic circle they had got broken. They got transported not to them, but to another part of their world.
And immediately in danger.
Yeah. Okay. So it's I like the way they've done the characters, only because they don't seem too OP.
Okay.
I mean, how much of this have you done through Spaz?
I've read a decent amount. I haven't watched it,
Okay.
but in my opinion, it's kind of the opposite. They, in my opinion, are a little too overpowered.
Really?
Yeah. Just comparing it to one of my favorites, In Another World with My Smartphone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean,
Oh, see, I
yeah.
thought he was way too powered.
Well, he starts out, he may be able to use a lot of things, but he's not necessarily great at everything. He's
Mhm.
not overpowered in terms yet.
See, with the main character here, he can't even use what his full potential is until almost towards the end of the series. Like he literally could not, like he didn't know he didn't know he was a summoner. He didn't know, like he literally was only doing like physical body manipulation, and that was it.
Which is still overpowered.
Well, to an extent.
Oh, look at all the damage you did to me. Now I'm just healing myself.
Well, I don't think it was healing that he did, because he couldn't heal himself during one of those situations. Like he took a freaking beating.
He accelerated his healing factor. That's how he heals.
Oh, see, they never said anything about that in the manga. And at one point, he was literally a bloodied mess. Like when I think it was like
Was that the warehouse?
some creature. No, it was a creature that turned red because he got something put inside of it or whatever. It's the very first creature he comes across. Well, not the very first creature, but when he finally kind of understands his powers after his training. I'm trying to remember, but yeah, no, he literally gets thrashed like hard.
Huh.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay. And literally he has to get taken, and his trainer actually has to heal him, otherwise he would have died.
So was a
And
lot
I'm
of
like,
this series based around the training?
I would say only 2 episodes.
Okay.
2 episodes were based on training. The rest of it, they progressed through the actual story, and basically at this point in the story, they have found who summoned them, and they had the big army that they had to face off against.
Okay.
And that's where they ended it. But I find it interesting enough just because there's someone behind the scenes pulling strings, making some of this stuff happen, and apparently people think that she's going to be some sort of savior, and he's supposed to be her hero or something like that. Her sword and shield kind of thing. And I'm like, the way she's going about things, though, I'm like, either you guys got your wires crossed thinking she's your savior, or we're about to go throw down with her at some point, because holy crap. The fact that she's willing to pretty much risk thousands and thousands of lives so many different times, I'm like, yeah, I really wish he just comes in there and just finishes her off. To be honest, that might be the underlying reason why I continue watching, because I just want to see him walk into wherever she is hiding, pulling strings behind the scenes, and just like power up, boost, and just finish her off. Just be like, done.
So when you say she, are you talking about the girl?
No, there's another person.
Okay.
Yeah, no, there's another person.
Okay.
There's another person behind the scenes manipulating for him. She's just kind of a bystander, because she's never meant to be here in the first place.
Okay.
And even though she wasn't, she still has slightly more enhanced abilities than your average mage that's there.
Oh, she has quite a bit more power than the average.
Well, it's only because she can manipulate all elements, as opposed to most mages who only manipulate one, a few that can manipulate two, and I think her trainer can manipulate three.
Yeah, but she can manipulate 4, I think, right?
Yeah, she can manipulate all 4. And she's only better because of the fact, like, with what was that other one that we watched last season with the magician or the wizard who got reincarnated and got trained by Merlin? Yeah. she's only as powerful as she is because she has a basic understanding of science
Yeah.
and physics.
Yeah.
So
And
she understands if I push water, fire, air combination, do this, and then launch this off, it's gonna cause a giant
steam
explosion. Kind of thing. Yeah.
She also still has more magic power than the average person too. Quite a bit more.
Not by that much. He has a huge amount comparatively, but hers isn't necessarily as big as like when you compare it to his is way more.
Yeah.
His is like 4 or 5 times the amount of your average person.
I thought she wasn't too far behind him.
No, there was a big gap in between the two of them.
Okay.
She just has the bonus of having to be able to manipulate magics on their own. He's a summoner. So he has to manipulate magics through the spirits that he controls.
Okay.
And the fact that I think the spirit that he first contracts with is the Queen of the Wind Spirits, I think. So he just got lucky in the spirit that he got, I guess.
Wait, what was that one show where they were like giving spirits to children or something like that?
That was Slime.
Yeah. I can't wait for that. Yeah, so in this one there's like there is, you said there's this woman behind the scenes kind of directing how things goes. Is that similar to is that similar to how Hermes is kind of affecting where everything happens to?
Kind of.
Okay.
But like originally he didn't know that the conflicts that he was dealing with were because of her. Now he's kind of been giving hints by the fact of her subordinates have mentioned her, not by name, but her as being the one controlling everything. And then we've seen brief glimpses of her a couple different times lounging on a dais or whatever with like a pillow or something, and then everyone bowing and giving her reports about what's going on and getting orders.
Okay.
So that's about it.
So would you recommend this show?
For your hardcore fantasy likers, it's okay, but not great. Okay. It's not something I would immediately be like, you gotta watch this. Like if we were talking about like back in the day of Slime first coming out, where I'm like, oh my god, anyone fantasy, watch this show. It's amazing. It's awesome. Love it. This I'm like, if you got nothing else, watch. Sure.
Okay.
If you're waiting for the next season to come off and you don't have any other episodes to watch of something else, here you go, watch this.
Okay. So, did it meet your expectations for the whole cheat magician thing? I'm like, for me, I'm curious. Like, did cheat come into that? Like,
he thinks because of the fact of how powered he is, that's how he thinks of himself as a cheat magician.
Okay.
And yeah, I kind of see where that's kind of going at. And it I guess you could say it met most of my expectations.
Okay.
I mean, at this point, it's an isekai. We kind of know what's going to happen. It's just a given. It's just a matter of how it transgresses, which is the only difference that you're ever going to find.
Okay. Favorite characters?
I want to say it's probably his trainer.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that.
Yeah. She's got that badass motif with her, and she kind of has that, when I don't know, I've seen a lot of like trainers or masters, senseis or whatever, who when there's really nothing going on or nothing of importance, they're fairly relaxed and laid back, and they'll still train you, but they're not like overly intensive or just gotta do this, gotta do this, gotta do now kind of thing. But then when like conflict arises and something important, then all of a sudden they get serious.
Mhm.
And that's kind of her personality. So that's why I like his trainer.
Okay. Spaz, what did you like about that character?
Just the fact that she knows the limits of what is quote unquote normal, and she straight up tells him, "Do not use your full power,"
Yeah.
and he accidentally does, and he creates like a giant crater around him, and his reaction is, "Oops." And I think she tells him off for that too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh yeah, she's not afraid to let him know. She's not one to mince words or to hold back. You do something wrong, she's gonna let you know.
Okay. Okay. So before this last part, is this one of the shows that had the manga and the anime?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you go through both?
I mainly read
Okay.
what I could. Reading it was very interesting.
Okay.
I don't know how well they did for the anime adaptation.
Uh-huh.
But I said it was very interesting. I'd like to see where it goes.
Okay. Cool. And the last part is, what is your favorite part? So.
Favorite part. See, this is the problem. It's like one of those things where it's like Demon Slayer constantly bombarded my mind all the time. So all the other shows I'm looking at going, well, there was good parts in it, but what were they? Not as good as Demon Slayer. I mean,
Nobody headbutted anybody.
I think the battle sequence that they had at the very end of the season so far, where they had the army going up against each other, was probably one of my favorite moments, just because the opposing army knew of them and knew what they could do for the most part. So they decided to have people of their own to, I quote unquote, challenge them and try to take care of them. And seeing that dynamic where that occurred was quite interesting to me. I mean, they were all somebody like taken care of, and honestly, this is another thing too. You don't always see this, especially in quote unquote heroes and whatnot. But the people they fought against, especially the trainer, the sensei that they had was involved in this. She straight up killed the mage that she was going up against.
Oh.
There was no holding back. She killed him.
Okay.
He died. So I'm like,
gone. Completely
gone.
dead. No more.
He ain't gonna be in season 2. That's for sure.
Spaz, did you have any other favorite parts? I know that you like the crater.
So the crater was hilarious, but I love the fact that they went back to the area where they were first summoned, and they saw the same type of beast that was about to kill them in the beginning, and they completely wrecked it.
Oh, nice.
Without even really thinking about it.
Okay. That's cool. Kind of like a full circle thing.
So yeah, I think the anime went off on the manga then, because I don't remember that happening.
Because it was the giant flame horse, and when they first got summoned, they go back and they kill it really, really quick.
See, they skipped that in the anime.
Ah, that's a shame.
Wait, I'm trying to remember here.
That was an awesome scene.
Adventures. Yeah, no, they totally skipped over that. Cause they go from episode 1 where they first get there, and they get picked up by some heroes.
Yeah.
and then go to the town, who eventually they end up finding their trainer.
Yep.
And then episode 2 is the training sequence,
Mhm.
where we're learning about our abilities, learning how to use them.
He makes the giant crater.
Yeah, make the crater and all that good stuff. And then episode 3 has them doing their first adventure quest.
So, right after the training sequence,
Mm-hmm.
they go back to that field where they were summoned, and they fight the horse.
Ah, yeah, never involved. Or that
Ooh.
never happened, at least in the anime.
Yeah,
It's kind of disappointing.
it was kind of an anticlimactic fight because essentially she cut off its legs and he punched it in the head.
Uh,
Oh wait,
I think he punched it in the head.
wait. No, they changed. It's not that they changed the sequence. They changed the creature.
They did?
It was a wolf.
Ah.
It was some sort of wolf creature, not like a fire horse.
I think it was a fire horse. As I said, it's been a while since I've read that one.
Okay. I still think they. I still seem like they changed the sequence. And he didn't like obliterate it. I mean, he killed it eventually, but he didn't obliterate it. That's why I didn't recall it, because it wasn't like a power move. It was more like, because he tells himself, all right, I'm going to go to 10-15% enhancement and go from there.
Well, as I said, it was a pretty one-sided fight in the manga.
Yeah. I mean, it's understandable, but
okay.
anyways.
Cool. Well, that is it for our final thoughts for the summer season of 2019. We will be back on Halloween.
Will it be Halloween?
It'll be right before Halloween.
It'll be close.
back. Yep, we'll be back on the 27th.
Ah.
And we'll be talking about our initial thoughts on the new season coming out. I think we took a sneak peek.
So we've already talked about this season. So because this is one where Food Wars and Psychopaths and all that's coming out.
Yeah. So, if I remember correctly, it's a bunch of 3s and then some really big heavy hitters.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. I think we mentioned this was going to be the summer or the fall of sequels.
So, hopefully time works out better this next season, and I'll be able to finish a bunch of the new shows that are coming out. But I will start a bunch just like this season. Try the most that I'll be able to do. As always, I'd like to thank you all for hanging. Thank you all for watching. Today with me was Shade and the Spastic One. And we'll be back on the 27th to talk about the first impressions. And as always, thank you all for watching. Thanks for hanging out in the chat. Thanks for supporting the channel in any way that you do. And we will see y'all next time. Bye.